My name is Nick Caffey, and I'm the owner and qualifying broker of the Brickleys franchise here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Our office is located over near Cottonwood Mall off of Eagle Ranch Road, just catty corner from Costco. And we manage rental properties in Placitas, Bernalillo, Rancho, Corrales, Albuquerque, and Los Lunas. And we've been doing business in Albuquerque for about 12 years. And this video is being created in order to get you answers quickly to the questions that we most frequently get regarding our services. And so I'm going to start off tell a little bit about myself, and then I'm going to give you answers to the most common questions that we get and give you a really quick overview of our services. I know everyone's busy nowadays, and we want to make sure you get your information quickly and easily. Before I was a qualifying broker and a manager and owner of Brickleys, I was a senior investigator for CYFD for the state of New Mexico. I did that for 5 years for Bernalillo County East, just before I did this. My degree is from UNM. I graduated in 2002, and I'm an Albuquerque native as well. My wife, Naomi, she's beautiful and talented, and she also works in the office with me. We'll be married 20 years this year, and we have 2 daughters here in Albuquerque. So we love Albuquerque, we love the rental industry, and we would love to take great care of you and your property. Now, when I first meet with clients, usually the very first questions I get, I wrote down here on this piece of paper. Usually the first question I get is, I'm thinking about renting out my home, and I'm wondering what I can rent it for. How we determine rental pricing is usually rental activity in your neighborhood. Chances are we have rentals in your neighborhood, and we have rental data on your neighborhood, and we can create you a report that shows you all the recent rentals that are similar to yours, when they rented, and how much they rented for. And this can help you establish your price. You can list your price at whatever price you feel is fair, but just as you know, vacancy is very expensive on a rental property, so if for some reason it's not moving, we'll want to bring down the price slowly until we can get some interest. Next question I usually get is, what do we charge for our services? So we do full management services. We take care of everything from beginning to end. And we're no upfront cost if your property is vacant, so we're literally no cost and no obligation until your property is rented. Once we rent your property and you approve your tenant, after you review all their screenings and terms, we charge a $250 leasing fee plus tax. And then our management fee is 10% of the rent plus tax, as long as we manage your rental. And that's our fee structure. It's very simple, it's all inclusive, and it allows us to provide full services for you as well. Next question I usually get is, what all do we do? Again, we do everything. So from the time we have a signed management agreement, we'll go do a new account inspection of your property. We'll share that report with you in your online account, and we can get free estimates for any work that needs to be done to get it rent ready. We'll advertise your property. We're in the top placement in 99% of the places that everyone looks for rental property. We also work with relocation services, the military, local hospitals, to help place people coming in that are being transferred into the Albuquerque area as well. So you'll get premium advertising. Now, we'll also be able to show your home 7 days a week, including evenings, holidays, and weekends. And we'll take in applications, do the background screenings, move in your tenants as long as you're okay with their terms and their background check, and we manage the tenants as long as they live in the property. We do the move-in inspection, move-out inspection, and coordinate work orders as long as they live there. You also get monthly statements and monthly direct deposits into your account. You have an online account available to you 24 hours a day. And at the end of the year, we'll provide you a 1099 tax document and also an income and expense report at the end of the year for easy taxes. That's just a basic summary of what we do. Next question I usually get is, who is Brickleys? Do we have any references? Well, like I said, Brickleys is a property management franchise. And if you want to check us out, go on our website. Go to brickleysusa.com and click on the Albuquerque office. And you can click on our current Better Business Bureau rating. We're currently rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau and 5 stars. If you look us up on Google reviews, we have nearly 100 reviews and I think 4.5 stars out of 5. And so that's our current reviews. So it's a good way to check out a company to see how they're performing with the public. Now, next most common question I get is, well, how do I get a good tenant? How do I make sure no one destroys my house or causes harm to my home? And that question is a risk management question. And one of the primary things that we do for our clients is risk management. One of the primary tools you use for risk management on your rental is we're going to do a thorough background check on any applicant on your property, and you'll get to review their background screening before you want to move forward. And as long as you have a legal reason to deny them, you can move on to somebody who's at a qualified level that you're comfortable with. So our screening process involves all 50 states. It involves civil records, criminal records, sex offender registry, FBI database, and we also get a credit report. You'll be able to review all that information before you make a decision regarding moving forward with your tenant. That is one of the primary ways that you make sure you get a good tenant in your home, because if we can establish a good history, it's a good way of establishing a good future. Now, not only does the background screening act as a really good risk management tool, but we also do other things to incentivize our tenants so that they perform well. One is we make sure that they understand their lease agreement. We ask them questionnaires when they fill out their application, and they also get a quick reference guide. Also, while they're tenants, their good rental history will also give them good credit history. So all their payments and rent performance will be reported to credit reporting bureaus, and that's another way we incentivize tenants to do well. In addition, we're going to hold a security deposit equal to 1 month's rent, typically. We're going to refund that to the tenant within 30 days of them moving out, pending the property's condition. And those are all really good tools to use to make sure that we have good performance out of a rental property. A rental property is just like running a business. It's not no risk, but with good tools and good risk management tools. Over the lifetime of your rental, there may be an occasional hiccup or bump, but your overall performance should be really solid. And if you're looking into renting out a property or you have rental property, you understand that having a rental property long-term is an incredibly powerful wealth building tool. And again, that's why so many people have rentals, and again, why we're in business. Another question that we get is about pets. What if you have certain pets you don't want? Well, we're going to recommend that you just review all applications as they come in, whether they have pets or not. Pets is another risk management item, and typically it's good to see how well qualified your applicant is before you deny their animal. If you're going to approve a pet, it's good to do good risk management if you're okay with the animal. So you can increase the rent, you can charge non-refundable pet fees, you can also increase the security deposit, so whatever your comfort level is. You want to be careful not to go too crazy with fees, because then we won't be able to move forward with any applicants. So again, we'll just accept pets on a case-by-case basis. Next most common question I get is, how often do you inspect the property and keep an eye on the tenants in my property? So going back to risk management, a lot of people use inspections as a risk management tool, but it's not the most important risk management tool. The most important one is the screening process. Now with inspections, we do appropriate inspections on the property if we become alerted of a problem. So if a neighbor reports something to us, an HOA, the city, just we become aware of some kind of an issue, that would prompt an automatic inspection from our end. If we do an inspection on your home, you'll get a report, a copy in your online account. You'll be notified when it's done. You'll be able to review all the pictures and information that we gathered on the inspection. Aside from that, you're welcome to request an inspection anytime you want one. You just shoot us an email and we'll go do an inspection. As long as we don't do it too frequently or unnecessarily, you can do it whenever you're curious. Now, tenants do not like inspections, and if we have a well-qualified tenant, we do an inspection, there doesn't seem to be any problems. We recommend giving them as much privacy as possible, but again, you are welcome to request an inspection anytime you want one. Now, whenever you meet with me, these are the similar kind of questions I go over when I meet with you face-to-face. And I also want to take an opportunity to go through our management agreement and hit the highlights of what you would be signing, because this covers the scope of our authority and what we do for you as a property management company. So I'm going to hit the top points I think it's important to understand regarding a management agreement. This agreement can be filled out in paper form if we give you paper form, or you can also fill this out online. We have a link you can just click in the email that we sent you. You can just fill it out online and then you're all done. It's very simple. The front page of our management agreement, you'll see our quick reference guide. Because there's so many pages in our management agreement, our quick reference guide is the stuff that we most frequently get asked after we have a new client. So we put it right here on the cover so it's easy for you to reference. Very first point is, in order for us to show your home, it has to be exact condition the tenant's going to get it in. So we can start your advertisements right away. We can start taking applications on your property right away, but we don't want to show the home to those applicants until your home is ready to move into. And that's because we're going to have them verify that they accept the condition of your home and sign an as-is agreement so that we can move forward with a lease signing. The next main item is, with your utilities, make sure that you leave them on and paid for until we rent the home. Even after we rent the property, you don't have to call and disconnect services. We'll take care of that for you. The tenants have to provide us confirmation numbers that they've transferred utilities in order to execute their lease. So don't worry about trying to disconnect any utilities. Next questions on our management agreement is, when do you get paid and when do you get your statements? Always think middle of the month. Tenants' rent is due on the 1st and tenants get a 5-day grace period. So typically funds clear by the 15th. With a bank account, it usually takes about 10 days for funds to clear a bank account. Even though the funds come in the next day and they give them to you the next day, they actually are not actually there for about 10 days. So we have to wait for the funds to clear before we pay them out, but when we do pay them out, it's next day payout. So around the middle of the month, you'll get an email from us saying how much we've sent you, and also your monthly statements as well, which is a link that will log you into your online account. When you get that email that we've paid you money, you know that money will be in your bank account the following day. We charge gross receipts tax on our management fee. So if you want to calculate gross receipts tax with our management fee, it would be 10.75% would be our management fee including tax. The 0.75% is gross receipts tax that's charged by the state of New Mexico. Your first payout is always smallest when we rent your property, and that's because we collect that $250 leasing fee, comes out of your first month's rent. We charge our 10% plus tax, comes out of your first month's rent. And we also hold an operating reserve, which is a minimum balance that we're going to keep in your account. The reserve is not a fee, it's a refundable amount when you're done with your term with us. And it's so that we have money set aside for incidentals, like repairs and maintenance and utilities between vacancy. Also, if your property is listed for sale, you can do it for sale or for rent, whichever comes first, that's perfectly fine. But while your property is rented with a tenant, we want you to know that if you put it on the sales market, it would be a violation of the lease agreement if you were to do that while the tenant's living there. So if you do want to sell the property in the future, it would have to be vacant. Now, we also can do sales and purchase for you as well. So if you ever want to get a market analysis for your property or research selling it, we can definitely help you with that as well. Also, with your homeowners association, we want you to authorize us to manage your account with the HOA. And we also want you to ask the HOA to send any violation notices directly to our office so that we can get them right away. When a tenant signs a lease agreement for your property, we're going to provide them a copy of all the covenants and rules for your community. And as part of their lease, we'll make sure that they agree to abide by all those rules. Now, if they ever cause an HOA fine or a fee, we would charge that to their account and you would be reimbursed. You'll have to continue to pay any HOA dues yourself, including any fines or fees that get added, but like I said, we'll reimburse you for any ones caused by the tenant. In New Mexico, we're not allowed to pass on the HOA costs to the tenant unless it's a fine or fee that they cause. Now, real quickly, if your property is located in Rancho, the one utility that your tenant will not be able to take over is waste management. You're going to be billed every 3 months as of 2018. And we're going to be billing the tenants monthly for their waste management usage to get you reimbursed. So when you get the bill every 3 months from Rancho Waste Management, keep it paid in full. We're going to continue to get you reimbursed every month. Now in Albuquerque, the most confusing utility is the water and trash. And that's because in Albuquerque, the water trash bill ultimately falls on the responsibility of the property owner. And so to make sure it stays paid and that we keep track of it, we want you to keep the water and trash bill paid from here on out. You don't have to provide us any copies of bills or anything. We're electronically connected to the water company, so we can get water bills anytime we need them. And we'll be billing the tenant on a monthly basis and have you reimbursed for that water and trash bill. That's the only bill that's like that. So just keep that water trash bill paid with the city of Albuquerque. Now the reimbursement from the tenant is sometimes 30 to 60 days delayed because tenants have 30 days to pay a bill with us. So just keep that in mind. In our management agreement, we have a page called Facts About Property Management. We feel it's really important to have a clear understanding of what our service is and what we provide, because we may have a relationship for a really long time. We want to make sure everything's really clear and understood, so it's a really great process. The Facts About Property Management goes over the layman's terms of what it means to hire a management company. It just means that what you're doing is you're hiring a power of attorney that's a licensed person to do property management in New Mexico. So we're licensed and trained and have the tools to do it properly. Because we're your agent, we're a power of attorney for you. So it's your rental, they're going to be your tenants, and it's your property. We're just a third party that's helping you manage the process. And that's what it means to hire a management company. Another thing in here, it just says that expect repairs and maintenance on your home. We recommend having a savings account of 1 to 2% of your home's value set aside for maintenance and repairs, so that when the garage door spring breaks or you need a new hot water heater, those aren't unexpected costs and you have the funds set aside to repair them. For my property owners that don't want their rental properties, it's usually because they can't afford them. But if you understand the expenses going into it, it can be a really great process and very rewarding long term. Ultimately, on Facts About Property Management, it just says that we're here for you. We're here to assist you. We're here to take great care of you. If you ever have any questions or concerns, that's what we're here for. Just ask us. We're happy to take great care of you. In our management agreement, it talks about our simple showing system. So while your property is vacant, we're going to install an electronic locking system on your front door. We're going to send you a code within a day or two of putting that on there in case you need to get into your home while it's vacant. But the reason that system's going to be on there is so that we can control vendors and viewings and other realtors while your property is vacant. So in order for someone to view your home, they have to go through an ID verification system, or they can come into our office and go through it here. If they do it online, we charge a $2 fee. If they come into our office, it's free of charge. Once their account is set up, they can select a viewing code that allows them to tour the property during a 2-hour window that they select anytime 7 days a week between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. This system was implemented in November of 2011. It's been 100% successful, and our clients love it and our owners love it. We also have a field specialist that goes out and checks our vacant homes just to make sure everything was left properly and make sure all the lights were turned off, doors were locked. But we also provide those instructions with our viewers as well. But it's a really great system to get the maximum amount of people through your home and allow viewers to see your home even if we're not open or if they have a realtor representing them. So if you ever want to know who's been in your home, who are they, and have we followed up with them, we'll always have an exact list. In our management agreement, we also have broker duties listed in here. Broker duties are is a required disclosure by the state of New Mexico. It just says that under our licensing, we're required to give you certain things. Broker duties list things like honesty and reasonable care, compliance with laws, performance of our agreements. A good quick summary is we're not going to lie to you and we're going to do our absolute best for you. Next part of our management agreement has additional disclosures. One is that this is an exclusive agency agreement. The name kind of says it all. The exclusive part means that when you sign an agreement with us, we're exclusively in charge. So it just means that you can't run your own advertisements, you can't show the home yourself, and neither can anyone else. We're in charge of doing that. The agency part is the power of attorney part. It means that under the scope of our authority, which is this agreement, we do have the authority to represent you and act on your behalf in your absence. And I'll get into what circumstances that would happen. Under our required disclosures, we have the Service Member Civil Relief Act. It just says that if you get a military person in your home and they get military orders to leave, we can't charge them any early termination fees. So typically we're going to recommend a 1-year minimum term on your property for a long-term rental, but the term you want to accept is completely up to you. If a tenant can't complete their term, we would charge them a penalty of an extra month's rent that they would have to pay with their last month's rent. That's how they would get out of the lease agreement. If they're a military person leaving because of orders, that's the fee that we can't charge them. This is our agreement continued. Talks about the term of our agreement. Our agreement's real simple. It begins when you sign it and it terminates when you end it in writing. And that's it. If you cancel our agreement when your property is vacant, there is no charge. So it's literally free sign up and no cost and free cancellation up until it's rented. So very easy. If you cancel your agreement and your property's been rented, it's a $300 termination fee. So if you ever took over your tenant, that's what it would cost, $300 plus tax. And you can do that anytime. And then if you ever want to give it back to us, you can just transfer it back to us at any time. We're going to deposit all funds into a trust account. Again, make sure they clear before we pay them out to you. Do a proper accounting of all the money that comes and goes on your property. As far as repairs and maintenance, we're doing accounting of any repairs and maintenance. We'll provide you copies of any invoices that are done on your property. We don't make any money on repairs and maintenance. You only get charged the exact cost that a vendor charges us. And the copies of invoices would be included with your monthly statement. So you always have a copy of everything that we have. You would grant us authority to advertise and showing on your property. Again, doing maintenance and repair. Now, when it comes to maintenance and repair, this is another question I get often, how all that works. We have a 24-hour call center that takes maintenance, repair, work order calls. And our first objective is always to repair work orders over the phone and close them out without it costing you anything. So if a tenant calls us and says that the kitchen sink is clogged, we're going to remind them that that's a tenant responsibility, give them some tips on how to unclog it, and tell them to call us back if it gets any worse or anything changes. Those kind of work order calls, it would not cost you anything, and it would be closed out, and you would never know about it. Now, if we needed to open up a work order and send out a vendor, such as a tenant calls us and says, I have a leak under the sink, very common work order, we're going to send you an email notification whenever we open a work order on your home. And this is so that we can keep you closely informed as to what's going on with your rental. And you'll see that we do that. We let you know ahead of time of what's going on with your rental, when your lease is coming up, when work orders are open. And it just gives you an opportunity to become involved on your rental if you chose to. You're not required to become involved, because if we send you that email notification that gives you the opportunity to take over the work order, ask a question, or give us some information, if we don't hear back from you in 48 hours, we'll make a broker decision, and that is to move forward with the work order. Now, in a situation like that, I'd give it to one of our trusted vendors and send them to the property. All of our vendors have vendor agreements with us, so they're not allowed to spend more than $250 on an open work order. And if they do, they have to provide us a written estimate first. We'll send that over to you through your email, and again, you'll have a 48-hour to review it. So we have a lot of really good checks and balances. When the work order is over, we'll do a quality check on the work order to make sure it was completed correctly. Now, the only exception to that process is an emergency. So you would authorize us in our agreement to respond to emergencies, respond immediately without notifying you, so that we can stop the problem from getting worse. And we wouldn't know about that until the next business day. So that is the exception to the notification ahead of time, which makes sense. There's also going to be a reoccurring maintenance needed on your home, possibly. So we may want to maintain your refrigerated air unit on a certain schedule or your swamp cooler on a certain schedule. When those reoccurring items come up, you still get notified every time they come up. If there's anything else you want done on a specific schedule, just let us know. We're happy to open up work orders on any schedule that you want. As part of our management services, we would be able to take your tenant to court, get a judgment against them, and have them evicted. Our management fee already covers all those costs. So because it's rare enough, it's a pretty minimal cost for us. If that situation did come up, we would take your tenants to court, get a judgment against them, and have them evicted, all free of charge. There would be no additional costs to you. How long does this take? Well, if rent was due on the 1st, we'll have them out of the property no less than 6 weeks at the latest. It's a very fast process. We're very good at it. It's a rare thing to happen, but when it does happen, we want to make sure that we can take care of it quickly and easily. Our compensation, I talked about briefly already. Again, it's 10% plus tax, $250 leasing fee once we rent your home. There's a couple other unusual fees that we have. If you ever foreclosed your property, it'd be a $600 fee. And if we had an owner-placed tenant and we had to evict them, it would be a $500 fee. So that would be a tenant that we inherited or one that you asked us to move in without screening, for example. If you do have a transfer to come to us, so your tenants are already living there, if they have a lease of 6 months or more, it's an absolute free transfer. We'll take it over, we'll get in touch with the tenant, and we'll take care of enforcing whatever lease agreement you have. We can even take it over if you don't have a lease agreement at all, and we can take care of all that for you. If you have a tenant that's not paying their rent or you're having trouble, we can handle any of those situations, and we'd be happy to help you. Make sure you always carry the proper insurance on your home. It's a different policy than when you live in the property. When you live in a property, you have an owner's policy. When you rent it out, it's a landlord's or renter dwelling policy. So make sure you have appropriate insurance on your home just to make sure it's covered. Again, we're going to hold a security deposit of 1 month's rent. It's refundable to the tenant within 30 days of them moving out. When a tenant moves out, we're going to keep you closely informed on the move-out process. We're going to provide you copies of the move-out inspection. We're going to separate the move-out items into 2 categories, normal wear and tear and tenant liability. We're going to make a nice list for you and an explanation as to how we came to an assessment. That process won't happen until a tenant moves out, but it's good to touch on it now as to how it happens, but we'll always keep you closely informed. While your property is vacant and we're showing it, we just want you to know that we don't automatically provide any yard or property maintenance services. So we don't automatically go clean the home, pull weeds, pick up trash. Now we're going to be doing vacancy reports to let you know the condition while your home is vacant. But if you want these things maintained while it's vacant, just let us know. We can have it done for you. While a tenant's living in the home, they're going to be required to do the yard maintenance. We require tenants to do basic yard maintenance. So they're required to pull the weeds, water the grass, keep the basic landscaping up. And any HOA specific regulations. The only things we don't require from a tenant is anything significant like understanding if something gets a disease, anything large and significant like a large branch needs to be cut. We wouldn't ask a tenant to do anything like that. Again, inspections, you can have one done anytime you want. All you have to do is send us an email. You are to expect a normal wear and tear on your property. Those are things that we can't charge a tenant for. So this would be minor scuffs and scrapes throughout your property, maybe minor cleaning, nail holes in the wall to hang pictures. So there's going to be some wear on your home from having it rented. So it won't be in perfect condition when you get it back. It'll have some wear on it, and that's to be expected. Your home's going to be a non-smoking property, so we're going to make it very clear that your tenants cannot smoke in your home. It's going to be considered a substantial lease violation if a tenant smokes in your property, so it's an evictable offense. Again, if your property's not moving, we're going to recommend a price reduction. We want to always make sure your property moves in less than 30 days because vacancy is very expensive on a rental. Paragraph 25 talks about public domain and property listings. When we list your property, we're going to put it on 50 plus of the top websites. We're front page Trulia, Zillow, Google, Realtor.com, so it'll be on all the main sites. But it'll also go on a lot of sites that we didn't put it on. So our listings get duplicated, copied, stolen, used for fraud almost every day. We just want you to know that kind of activity exists. You're not liable for it, but we just want you to know if you see an advertisement on Craigslist listing your property for $500 a month and it's way under rental value, that's probably a scam and we're not the ones doing that. We're just about done here. So when it comes to your tax documents, we just need one social security number or EIN number so we can provide you those 1099s at the end of the year. You can change it anytime you want. Under our property details, you get a list what you want to ask for rent, what you're providing with your property, such as appliances and heating and cooling systems. There is a note here, if you provide an appliance with a rental in the state of New Mexico, you do have to maintain that appliance. So just keep that in mind. The appliances that you absolutely must have in your property are all the kitchen appliances, especially a refrigerator. Not providing a refrigerator can make it very difficult to rent out your home. Washer and dryer are provided on about half of rentals, so that's not such a big deal if you do want to remove that because you don't want to maintain it. And then we do everything by direct deposit, so you can have the account put into any bank account you want and change that anytime you want. And again, my name is Nick, and we absolutely love to have you as a client. I can guarantee that we'll take absolutely wonderful care of you, and I'll be overseeing everything that happens with your home. The way we're designed, whenever you call us or chat with us online or email us, whoever you get in contact with is going to help you. So you don't have to chase down a specific person or a property manager. Anyone who answers the phone will help you, and just know that I'm overseeing all the activities from the top. So I appreciate you looking into us. Always let us know if we can help you or if you have any questions. Thank you.